The United Nations General Assembly passed a resolution today that denounces Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The vote comes after 3 days of speeches by UN ambassadors.
Today's resolution reflects a central truth. The world wants an end to the tremendous human suffering in Ukraine. The same truth was clear in the rapid mobilization of funds for our life-saving humanitarian operations in Ukraine and neighboring countries. Our global flash appeal was met with record generosity.
The CBC's Chris Reyes is at our bureau at the United Nations headquarters, and she has more on the vote and the resolution.
Hey, good afternoon, Arthi. Well, the first thing that we should say is that this is an overwhelming vote for this resolution, and I think it accomplishes what the sponsors set out to do, which is to show Russia's isolation within the international community. So let's break down the vote. 141 voted yes for this resolution, made up of all the EU nations, the UK, the United States, Canada, democracies around the world. UAE voted yes. That's worth noting because it abstained from the same resolution when it tried to pass at the Security Council. 5 voted against, to be expected: Russia, Belarus, North Korea, Syria, Eritrea. 35 abstentions: China and India, Vietnam, Congo, to name a few. Now, China and India also abstained from the Security Council resolution, and both countries have used very careful language to talk about this conflict, never directly blaming Russia and expressing concern for the conflict, but also urging for dialogue between the two countries. Let me tell you a little bit about the resolution. The resolution condemns in the strongest possible terms attacks on a sovereign state. It demands that Russia withdraw its forces immediately from Ukraine, to stop the use of force to allow humanitarian aid into the country, and it urges diplomatic dialogue between the two countries. Now, in the explanation of votes, we should mention, Arthi, that even the ambassadors that voted yes urged for this diplomatic dialogue, because I think there is this feeling that if this so-called diplomatic off-ramp will exist, the UN has to play a role.
And you know, Chris, General Assembly resolutions are non-binding. So the question is, of course, do they carry any weight at all?
And the short answer to that is no. The UN General Assembly resolution is essentially the formal expression of the will or opinion of the United Nations. So if this is not legally binding, the Security Council is the only body within the UN that can do that. What's the point of it? You know, what's been so interesting to listen to, Arthi, in the last few days is that Russian ambassador speaking publicly with such a wildly different interpretation of events. And I think this resolution was a chance for member states to take a powerful stand, to choose a side and to reject that narrative. You know, this resolution was also an opportunity to pass a resolution in a body where Russia didn't have a veto, and then, as I said earlier, to show Russia's isolation. Arthi, there was a really powerful moment just before the vote. The Ukrainian ambassador held up the small blue book that is the UN Charter, and he challenged his fellow ambassadors to sign that blue book if they were going to vote yes for this resolution, and then to drop off that book to the Secretary General so that it would create a stack to show who still believes in the UN Charter and willing to defend it.